Today's topic, publishing scams. If you've got 5 minutes, I've got 5 tips to help you avoid being scammed. If you've dreamt of writing a book, you've probably dreamt of publishing it. And you might have even thought about what it would feel like to see your name on the front of that book, or even on the byline of a magazine article. I've been there. 35 plus years ago, I remember thinking that same thing when I was looking for a publisher for my first book. And that drive to publish is so powerful, it can blind you to the scammers who are out there just waiting for you. With the advent of digital publishing over the last 20 years, it seems that scammers have come out of the woodwork. There are veritable cottage industries that have sprung up around the notion of writing and publishing. Many of them are designed to provide you with assistance, but there are many more that are nothing more than scams. Here are my 5 tips to help you avoid it. Tip number 1, if a publisher offers you a contract and then charges you a fee, that is not a traditional publisher. A traditional publisher will never ask a writer to pay a fee to be published. In fact, for some people, that's the very definition of a vanity publisher. Now, it can be argued that any time a writer pays to have his or her own work published, self-publishing, for example, that's vanity publishing. But I'm talking about a particular type of company that is designed with a business model that does nothing more than take authors' money. They are not designed to sell books for you. They are designed to print the book for you, possibly give you some editing, and then distribute it very minimally, and you're supposed to do the rest. If you want to vanity publish, by all means go ahead and do it, but just make sure you know what you're doing. That is not a traditional publishing contract. Tip number 2, a literary agent who contacts you out of the blue, offering you publishing deals or even the opportunity to sell film rights to a book, is not a legitimate literary agent. I regularly get emails from so-called agents offering to represent the film rights of one of my books, a historical novel. Now, it's tempting, isn't it, to go ahead and sign with an agent like that. But a bit of a deep dive into Google will help you to figure out that that is not an agent that you would ever want to work with, ever. Agents these days have so many submissions from potential clients that they don't go looking for work just out of the blue. If someone is a legitimately best-selling writer, then an agent might go after you. But I'm talking about a legitimately best-selling writer, not somebody whose book, because of Amazon algorithms, rose to the top of an obscure subgrouping of books for one day or 1 hour of one day and is now called themselves a best-selling author. Tip number 3. A literary agent who charges a reading fee or charges you any other fees other than the 10 to 15 to 20% after the contract is signed on any sales of your books is to be avoided at all costs. Agents who charge fees are actually barred from belonging to their professional associations. A literary agent who is making his or her money from fees, reading fees up front, or other kinds of fees that they may be charging you for their services after signing a contract, is not really interested in selling your book because that agent's business model is focused on fees and there's no real reason to sell books. Tip number 4, if someone offers to obtain copyright for you for a small fee, just say no. I've noticed that a lot of new writers seem to think that people are going to steal their work or steal their ideas. These writers seem to think that they need to do something proactive about registering the copyright of work that they've produced. The truth is that the minute you have created work and put things onto a computer file or down on paper, copyright is vested in you as the creator. You don't need to register the copyright of anything that you write. The registration of copyright is done after it's published. One of the things you need to understand is that there is no copyright on ideas. Someone could very well have the same idea that you have, but no one has the rights to it. Now, of course, if you're writing a screenplay, it's a slightly different situation, which I learned some years ago when I took a screenwriting course, because screenwriters are notoriously concerned about people stealing their work. And one of the reasons is that there is a great deal more money involved in screenwriting than there is in writing and publishing books. I also have a bonus tip for you here. Never buy an ISBN from a third party. If you live in a country where you have to pay for an ISBN from a place like Boker's, if you live in the United States, here in Canada we don't have to pay for our ISBNs, then get it yourself. That's my bonus tip. Tip number 5, if anyone offers you sales guarantees, avoid them like the plague. One thing we know to be true about publishing is that there are no guarantees, and there is no one, no author, no agent, no publisher who has any notion of what's going to sell in the future. They think they do, but they're often wrong. Remember J.K. Rowling and her first Harry Potter book that she couldn't sell to a dozen or more publishing houses. I bet they're thinking that they wish they had said yes. If you think you've been contacted by a scammer, you can always visit the Authors Guild page online where they keep an updated list of potential scams or scams that they've actually researched and know to be true scams. And of course, you can always do your own research online whenever you are confronted with someone coming to you out of the blue, or when you're doing some research online and trying to figure out if a particular agent or a particular company or a particular publisher might be something that you would want to get involved with. Do a little research, find out what people have said about them, look at their reviews, and you'll figure it out pretty quickly. Talk to you soon. Subscribe to Write, Fix, Repeat. And maybe I can help you improve your writing knowledge and skills. 5 tips at a time.